Hello, the ball is round family. As you can see, we are joined today by CF Montreal defender Dawid Bugaj. How is it going today, Dawid?
No, it's going really good. Nice sunny day here in Montreal today, so good session today as well. So yeah, really happy.
I mean, it is warm. I'm sure you've experienced colder weather than this in other places, but yeah, it's finally getting a little bit hot here.
Yeah. That's good.
So just to give a bit of background about you, Dawid, you know your background, but just to give it to a little bit of our listeners, you were born in Poland, but moved to Norway shortly thereafter. I don't remember exactly the age, but you did move to Norway a little bit after. You started playing youth football with Molde FK too. And I'm sorry if I mess up any of the names of the team in Norway. Went on trial with Bundesliga giants Borussia Dortmund in 2020 for a week. Then you moved on to Italian side SPAL, in 2020 before being loaned out to Lechia Gdańsk. Now, David, you're going to correct me on this because I'm terrible with that name, but I probably botched it already. How do you say that name?
Lechia Gdańsk.
Oh, there, that's it.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
I'm gonna let you fill in the blank every time I have to say it. In 2023, summer of 2024, signed by CF Montreal for 2 seasons with an option of 2 more years. David, let's get started with the interview. I'm gonna be very honest with you, David. We have to do our research. We have to try to find out, what we can, so we don't ask you. But I
Yeah.
couldn't understand half of the interviews that you did because they're in another language, and I tried my best to get the information. So I'm sorry if some of the questions might be repetitive, or you might have already answered them before. But yeah, we'll try. We'll try
Yeah,
our best here.
it's fine. No worries.
So I know your dad. We're gonna start from the beginning, right? I know your dad was a footballer. I believe he was a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And when did football start interesting you? How old? Because you're still very young, but how was it that football first came into your life? And yeah, how soon would you say you started opening up to the idea of being a professional soccer player?
I think it started very early because obviously my dad was a professional football player, so I think that runs in his blood and in my blood. So it was always there when I was a kid. I was going to his games, watching his games. We were watching games at home. Even when I was like a small kid, always had a ball at my feet. So I think it just started very naturally, even though my dad was a football player, but I think it just came because of that. So year after year, I was getting more into it. And then, yeah, when I was 6 year old, I started playing football with a team, all the FK, like you said. And from there, that's where everything started.
That's awesome. And was there at any point, maybe in your younger years, that you told your dad or your family, like, hey, you know what? I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be an usher, or something crazy like that out of the sporting world. Just curious like that.
No, it wasn't really like that. I think
Okay.
it was just like for fun. Football was just fun for me. That was like my hobby. So I was
Okay.
out with my friends playing football. So that was the only thing I thought about when I was a kid. So it wasn't really other things.
Okay. All right. You spent maybe some of the most important formative years in the Norwegian side, Molde, since the youth levels. What was that experience like for you? I also caught that you might have rubbed shoulders with some pretty important players while you were there in a very young. How was that? How was the growing up in
No,
that
it was
culture?
really good. Obviously, the first years when I started when I was 6, it was just playing with the kids from the school. So it wasn't really professional. But once I got professional, that was when I got 14. So we moved like the academy in Norway starts from when you're 14, so under 14s. No, it was a great experience. I mean, the Norwegian football is developing a lot every year. So I think for me it was the perfect experience, especially since I grew up there. So I had all my friends there, my family there. So it was just about having fun.
Now, David, I also grew up a little bit in my childhood. I kind of moved around a bit, and I knew that at times it was kind of difficult. And we'll get into the international talk a little bit later. Right now, we're focusing on club. But how difficult was it for you to kind of say, identify, I'm Norwegian, I'm Polish, I'm because you're young, right? And you've made such a drastic move of your life. You said you grew up around Norwegian soccer and all that. So, was there a point at that age that you said, you know what, like this is what I identify myself as?
I mean, it wasn't really like that because obviously my parents are Polish. I
Yeah.
grew up in Norway, so for me it was like I was surrounded by Norwegian people my whole childhood. So I just had my parents that I could speak Polish with. So I mean, I had two passports. I have the Polish one, the Norwegian one. I
Yeah.
identify as both. I feel Norwegian and Polish. So for me, it's like it's nothing that I feel more Polish or more Norwegian. I think like it's both for me, especially because I spent so many years in Norway.
That's actually super interesting, David, because most people that come from Europe, I would say, or players or whatever, they really identify themselves to a certain country, right? They say, but it's the first time really I hear like, you know what, I identify from both, and that's
Hmm.
perfectly fine. That's really cool. Now, was it during this time that maybe like maybe you were molded that you started defining your position as a defender? How would you say you evolved as a football player? Like, I'm sure you were tried out in different positions and all that. Was that when you chose to be a defender?
I mean, I wasn't really a defender when I was younger. I was playing more as a winger, right striker kind of. So I was more attacking. And then when I got the first call up to the Norwegian national team, the under 15s, it was a camp. That's when they called me up as a wing back, kind of fullback. And they saw that because especially when I was playing as a winger, they saw like I was defending really well and did all the runs in behind as a fullback, but I was playing as a winger, so they really liked that in me. So that's when I think like they thought like, okay, this guy can play fullback.
Okay. And what was that? Did they like pre-position that position to you? Like, did they tell you, by the way, we're gonna put you in a new position because obviously as a winger you're used to scoring, love the scoring and all that. But did they kind of pre-position that? By the way, you're gonna be a little bit more back. How
I
did that
mean,
conversation go for you?
yeah, they never told me that. Like it was just more natural, I would say. Like it was just like I was still playing both, so they were like keeping me as a winger, but also some sessions and some games I was playing on a fullback. So it
Okay.
wasn't really like, okay, from now on you're just right fullback. So it was just like a more natural thing. Like I was still playing both, but then after time, after time, after time, I got more as yeah, got more like to the fullback position.
Interesting, interesting. And then I mentioned a little bit earlier, you had the trial run with Borussia Dortmund. Now I've heard this several times that COVID hit and it impacted that trial that you had. Um, it did last a very short time, but what would you say was one of the most important things that you learned? So, based on what I've heard, that was just to kind of summarize it, I've heard in other interviews that you were well on, you might have even signed a professional contract with Borussia Dortmund, but because of COVID, things obviously went sideways, right? Which is okay. It
Yeah.
happened to the rest of us in the world. But what during that moment that you were there, I'm sure you saw a lot of things, you heard a lot of things. What would you say was one of the most important things that you learned during that period with Borussia?
I mean, it's actually funny because when I was in Molde, Erling Haaland was also in Molde as well, so he made a transfer to Dortmund after. So when I came, it was already there. So it was like the people, like the players from the locker room, they were asking me where I came from, and I said Molde. So they're like, "Oh, Haaland, Haaland." So it was quite funny actually because
Yeah.
obviously I was from the same club.
Yeah.
But even when I was there, it was under six. No, it was under 17s, I think.
Mhm.
But the professionalism and everything they do in like big clubs like that, it's kind of crazy. I remember we came in at 10 o'clock and we finished at 2 3 p.m.
Okay.
So it
Wow.
was crazy. We did like 2 3 sessions a day. So I mean that's like where when I realized like this is really really big football. And in those big clubs, they start from the very very young age.
Okay. And then you joined Spal in Italy in 2020, a different country. We talked earlier about you moving to Norway, but I don't know if that made a difference because you went to Italy. I don't know if you went with your family, Dawid, but it was a completely different country, different language, different footballing style, and spent most of it on the youth levels before being loaned out. How was the Italian experience for you being in Spal?
Yeah, I moved alone as a 16-year-old kid
Oh, geez,
without
let's
my
talk about
family.
that.
So it was very, very tough, especially first time moving abroad because I don't count really moving abroad to Norway because I don't really remember it. It was just like I was there when I was a kid. But moving to Italy was very tough for me. I remember, especially without my family, new language, new people around me. Uh, so the start was very, very tough for me. I was living in it's called the convitto. That's convitto. It's called in Italian. That's like a boarding school, I would say, like where all the players live together.
Okay.
So that was like very, very new to me because I was living at home with my parents, had my own room. But there in Italy, like we were living 4 or 5 players in one room. So we were always together, eating lunch together, breakfast together, training together. So that experience was very, very tough. But like, I think that just made me stronger because obviously it was very, very tough. And then after a while, again, the COVID hit again for the second time, and Italy was very bad. So everything shut down. So I remember it was a very, very like 3 4 months where we couldn't even leave the convito and even go to a store. We were just training and back home. So it was very, very tough.
I can only imagine. Were you able? Did they give you guys exception to maybe go back to see your family or spend some time?
That was the problem back then because Italy was so bad that you couldn't travel out of the country.
Yeah.
So we had to stay. So I remember it was 7 months where I didn't see my parents, my family. So that was maybe the toughest moment in my life, probably, I would say.
Jesus. Yeah, well, like you said, right? It made you stronger, and I'm sure as a football player, also today, it made you grow up, right? And that's things. Would you say was there something maybe during that period that you would say that you learned that maybe you still use today that you could as a football player or as a person?
I think as like the language wise, was very good for me because we were always there. I was always with the boys, so I had to speak Italian because obviously in Italy, people don't speak English that good than other places. So I think that was a really good thing for me. So I learned the language in 3 4 months. So that was good. And also I think like just being together, stick through it. I think that was just that learned me. Like I just got stronger as a person, and that's it.
All right. And now let's go ahead and talk about your loan to that team that I don't know how to say their name, but try it again. Like get that. Nope, probably
Yeah,
messed it up.
Lech Gdańsk. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty
Yes.
good.
When you're 18, 19 years old, why was that the right move for you, that loan? How did they preposition that move to you? Was it your decision? How did that go at that point in your career when it looked like you were pretty close to maybe getting to the first team? Oh, how did that go?
Yeah, I was supposed to go to the camp with the first team with Spal, but before going back there, I got a phone call from Lech Gdańsk. The sporting director called me that said like they really wanted me. You're gonna come to us. You're gonna play. We have ambitions to win the league, to promote. So for me, that sounded okay. I have the opportunity to go play men's football. They're gonna play me, so I thought, yeah, I should give it a try, and that's what I did.
All right, pretty easy decision. And you helped them gain automatic promotion that season. How was that experience for you as an individual? I can only imagine how that is because there's obviously no relegation promotion in the MLS, but how was living that experience for you?
No, it was unbelievable feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. It was so crazy. I remember we had the last derby game against Arka Gdynia. It's like a big derby in Poland. We played against them. That was the second last game of the season, and if we would win that game, we would promote. So it was a full stadium, 40,000. We won that game. We promoted. It was unbelievable. Then we went to the city with the fans celebrating. It's something that you don't experience that often. So especially for me in first year there and men's football, to experience that was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of football players say that they learned a lot during relegations. But what could you say you learned during the fight for promotion or getting your team, along with your boys, along with your team, getting to them to that huge accomplishment for a team?
I think, especially the team I went to Lech Gdańsk, the expectations were very high. The pressure from the fans, from the club was high. So obviously, they put it pressure on us every session, every game that we have to win, we have to improve. So I think like that made us players stronger, better. Because we have to improve every session. So it's a very nice experience because you always think we have to win, we have to be winners. Like we can't lose any game. So I
Hmm.
think that is just completely opposite to being a team that relegates and a team that promotes because I think the mentality is different. Like you have a winning mentality.
Oh, interesting. So now let's talk a little bit more about the present moment. You're a CF Montreal player today. Summer 2024, CF Montreal from the MLS comes knocking at your door. How did that go? How did they present the project to you? Because that would, correct me if I'm wrong, but were you at that point? Have you been playing right back? Had you already played right back? I know that you said that you played as a winger when you were younger, but had you been sticking to right back? What was your position like at that point?
Yeah, in Lech Gdańsk, I was playing right back the whole season, but in the national team, youth national team, I was playing as a wing back. So I kind of was known to that position. I knew how to play that position. So especially because there's a lot of games in the national team that time.
Okay.
So yeah, for me it was nothing new.
Okay.
But when they called me, I got so happy, like so surprised, like shit. MLS Montreal is calling. It's crazy. I felt like I remember my agent called me. I ran up to my parents and told them like they're calling, and it was like I was so in shock. Like this is something really really big. So I remember I was so happy, but as well I was like, this is very very far from home as well. But I remember the only thought I was like, I wanted to go there immediately. I was so happy about the offer. So I was the main thing in my head was like, I want to go there and play.
And you sound like you were very excited because the perspective we get from MLS from fans, or the people that cover MLS here is that Europe is always, the step higher than MLS, right? It's just based on history or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But you mentioned you were so excited, but why at that point? Why was MLS such an exciting step for you for them to call and all that?
I mean, the league is very good. It's improving for every year. I remember even like 20 years back, like the league weren't that good that it is now. So the league is a top league in the world, I would say now. I think it even got rated top 10 in the world. So when you see that and you get an offer from a team from the MLS, you don't even think twice. You just want to go.
That's awesome. And like looking at it back today, do you think it was the right moment for you to jump in the MLS, or would you want to have preferred maybe continue to try to develop into in Europe, maybe with SPA, or I don't know, another European team to try to continue your trip over there, your journey over there?
No, I think this was the perfect step for me, especially when I spoke to the club and the plan they had for me, for the team, for everything. So it sounded really good. So
Well,
I was just
perfect.
happy about that. So there was nothing more to say.
That's awesome. And now we're going to talk a little bit of outside of the field. It hasn't even been a year since you moved to Montreal. How would you say your adaptation to the city has been going?
No, really
The
good,
league and all that. Yeah, bro.
really good. Especially because I've been to several places, several clubs. So for me, it was nothing very like too crazy. Like I told even in past interviews, like I really adapt really fast to new places. And Montreal is a very beautiful city. It's a lot to do. So so yeah, I was just like I was just so happy to be here. I remember when I first came, I looked around all the buildings. It was so crazy to me. So yeah, I was just really happy.
Have you ever practiced in that cold of a weather, that kind of winter?
I remember when I came, they told me about the weather. I said, "No, don't worry. I grew up in Norway, so I'm used to it." But this was a kind of a new level. So
Yeah, this messed me up, huh? This messed
yeah,
you up. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm from South Florida, and I grew up in Miami, and this is not normal. This is a very, very bad cold. Wait till you have that first slip. I don't know if it's happened to you yet. The ice slip or whatever. Those are.
those were bad, right?
What about the league? The league, like adapting to the MLS, because in Europe it's not the same thing. Traveling, the far traveling, and all that, or you know, MLS is very distinctive in that sense of how it conducts
Yeah,
itself as a league. What did you? How's your adaptation going with the MLS?
yeah. When I first came, the tempo was really high in the league. The intensity in the games, in the trainings. It's a very physical league. So that was like a big step for me. So I had to adapt to that. Like I remember it took a few sessions for me to come into it, a few games as well, but I think I did it quite good. And about the traveling, to be honest, I didn't know it was that much traveling because obviously in Europe you just used to go with buses 2 3 hours there and you're there, but here it's like everything with planes. So that was like a big difference for me.
Was there a trip that you can remember up to today that you did that you were like, oh, this is crazy, man? I just was there a trip in particular that you remember that?
Actually, one trip, I think it was my first away game. Yeah, it was actually my first game. I got the debut against Orlando in the Leagues Cup away.
Okay,
And I was
Orlando.
like, Orlando, and I was like, yeah, we're going with the plane. I remember, and they told me it's 4 hour flight. I was like, damn, that is a long flight. Because in Europe, if you fly 4 hours, you fly across the whole Europe.
Yeah.
So that was a bit shocking to me, but yeah,
And
it
now
was
you've
just
gone to
funny.
Vancouver, right? You've gone to all
Yeah,
these.
Vancouver, yeah,
Jesus.
5 hours. So
Oh,
no, but
Jesus.
like I think you just get used to it and you don't even really think about it anymore. It was just the first time was a bit of a shock, but now I'm just used to it and it's chill.
Awesome. And now we're going to go back to the field. So when you first joined the team in 2024, CF Montreal was deploying a three defender backline with wing backs. Now we talked about you playing maybe a little bit of wing back in the national team, a winger as a young. How was the transition for you to go as a full time wing back? I know we saw you a few times in the field in 2024, but not that often. How was that transition for you?
Yeah, of course, it was a bit different, obviously, because the tactics the coach wanted us to play, the way he wanted was to press, to attack, the build up. So obviously, it was a bit new to me. I had to adapt to that. I was speaking to him a bit as well, so I just had to learn to look the others in that position and just try my best.
All right. And overall, we're going to go to present moment to CF Montreal 2025. CF Montreal has had a very difficult 2025 season, but we've seen you that would get more minutes and since the change of scheme and also improving on a week by week basis. You're honestly probably one of the players that's improving the most week by week. But what would you say you want to see improving your game that way this season or and going forward?
I mean, obviously, the season didn't start that well for us. We know that. We just have to keep working better and better. So this we know. But about myself, I think I just have to keep going what I'm doing right now. Defend well, attack when I have to attack, adapt to the tactics for every game. So I'm just looking to improve every game and obviously to improve the whole team. That's what I'm here also. I want everybody to get better every day. So that's the main goal.
All right. And what would you like to accomplish individually for you to consider it a successful season for yourself?
Individually, I always like to talk about the team because obviously it's a team sport. So
Yeah.
so that's like the number one thing for me. So obviously, I want the next game to flip around. I want to win a few games, do well in the Canadian Championship because it would be amazing to actually win a trophy with Montreal. So I think this is what I'm aiming for. Would be amazing to win the Canadian Championship.
All right, and now we're just going to talk a little bit more about your future, right? In the long run, because you're still only 20 years old. I think you're turning 21 next month.
Yeah.
What are some goals that you've set yourself? Go back to Europe. I mean, what were some goals that you have asked for yourself in the future?
Yeah, I don't really think too much about the future right now. The only thing I think about is right now. It's
Mhm.
about the team. I'm here in Montreal. I'm focusing on that, focusing on every game. Now we play Houston Saturday, so this is my main focus now. I just want to improve, the team to improve, and to get better every day, and that's my main goal for now.
All right, well, that's good enough. Now I did say I wanted to talk a little bit more about the international. So you did say you have that dual citizenship. You have two passports with Norway and Poland, and I know you've played a little bit of youth football with the Poland national team in the youth level. Would you ever consider playing for Norway? I don't know if they've already done it. I don't know if they already called you if you're interested, but has that topic ever come up?
Yeah, 2 years ago when we had the under 19 championship, the European Championship, the Norwegian national team actually called me. They wanted me to play for them. But I decided back then to play for the Polish national team because obviously I did the qualification, everything with them.
Okay.
But as I've been saying before, I'm open for everything. I have two passports. Whoever calls me, I will go. I feel both, like I told you. So
Yeah.
I'm not closing either Poland or Norway. So I'm open for both. So I think just that's just a good thing for me.
That's it. That way, I think you need to like go into any interview that you go to with your two passports, just showing them like that. You're like, look what I have, right? I know I do. I know I show my passports. Anyways, so that to finish the interview, we do like to do a little rapid fire. So just give me
Okay.
like a. Now again, I'm gonna botch the names because they're from another country. So rapid fire. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Pierogi, farikal, or Putin?
I have to stick with pierogi.
All right. Now this one's a tough one. All right,
Okay.
and you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable. Spal versus Molde in a game. Who are you rooting for?
I will have to go Molde.
All right. Most impressive stadium you've played in or visited?
I'm actually gonna say Stan Saputo.
No.
I really like the atmosphere. The fans sit very close. The fans are good, so I really like the stadium. The vibes are good in the game, so I'm actually saying that.
All right. CF Montreal fans. Someone that went to Borussia Dortmund just said Stad Saputo. You're a fan favorite starting right now. Favorite player in the world?
I've always liked Cristiano Ronaldo. The way he is, the way he acts, how professional he is. So I would say him.
All right. Favorite genre of music?
Favorite music.
Before the game, what are you jamming out to?
I don't really have one favorite. I just have a playlist with a bunch of different
Taylor
songs.
Swift? No.
Not really.
All right, so you just kind of
Yeah,
okay.
just a mix
Any
of
artist
everything.
in particular that you like? Okay, that's my jam.
I actually listen to Norwegian artists, so
Okay,
you wouldn't even know them. So
that's okay. Maybe our
yeah,
listeners know.
yeah.
Who do you listen to?
Actually, a group called Balenciaga
Okay,
or Rock Boys. So I like them; they're really
Rock
good. So
Boys.
I listen to
Love the
them.
name. All right. PS5 or Xbox?
PS5,
Okay. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram,
All right. Getting an assist or blocking a game-saving shot?
blocking a game-saving shot,
All
100%.
right. All right. Toughest attacker in training?
In training, a lot of good ones. I would say all of the attackers. Honestly, they're so
Oh,
tough to play against.
oh,
So
don't say that. That's such a. That is such. I'm gonna give
yeah,
you a second try,
okay.
Dawid. Toughest attacker in training.
Toughest attacker in training.
The one that gives you a headache every time they come at you. And it can be previous teams if you
Even
want to
previous
be.
teams.
Yeah, sure. We'll go. Toughest attacker you faced in training.
Honestly, I'm gonna give you the boring answer again. I faced so many tough players
All
in
right.
trainings that like it's hard to
Hallen,
tell
right?
one. How
Hallen.
he's one of the good ones, huh?
All right, last one for you. I'm not gonna bother you anymore. Player you are most looking forward to facing, besides obviously Messi and Suarez in my,
Besides Messi and Suarez,
which you've already
Not-
faced, I believe. You were in the field with them.
yeah, I faced all. I mean, you took the best ones out. So
All right.
who else do I want to face?
Any other that you can think of that you're looking forward to? You wish you were in a one-on-one against?
Just like from the league, or you mean in general?
Anywhere, the league, the world,
Anywhere.
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I would actually love to play against Ronaldo.
Okay. Your favorite
If
player.
Yeah, if that would happen, I would be happy. But obviously, he's getting older and older. He's in Saudi now, so I think it's not that possible anymore. But maybe sometime in the future.
All right, Dawood. Hey, listen, you gave us more than a lot of your time. So thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, no
today
worries.
and giving us this interview. As always, the Balls are on Montreal. Please make sure to subscribe after you see this interview. Thank you so much, Dawid, and
Yeah,
we'll see you around
yeah.
soon.
Thank you very much.
All right.